with you to discuss the retail marketing department month end for June.
Hi, Kelvin. Nice to meet with you.
Nice to meet you.
How did the numbers roll up for June?
Well, the good news is that compensation was down due to the bonuses. This is actually a permanent savings. I analyzed and found that the payouts were about 50% versus 100% at the time of the forecast in recognition of a more economical environment.
Well, that sounds good. Do I get to use it to help me budget the balance?
Well, unfortunately, Jane, the decrease in bonus payouts is undetermined by me because those specific compensation accounts are not under my control or your control. So in the other accounts, such as the marketing cost for June was actually 4% over forecast, while revenue was 11% lower than forecast, as you see in our numbers here. Information technology costs, IT costs, were actually higher than the forecast in general. So how do you think we can control this specific budget for next month?
It's been a great source of frustration with our new focus on targeting younger, urban, repeat demographic customers that our revenue continues to decrease.
Right.
Wow, 11%?
Yeah, that's a big number. We were not expecting that.
Well, I can see why you're asking where we can decrease spending. What was the breakdown in the overage in marketing programs?
Well, let me explain to you. I have found that the public relation expenses are temporary due to the timing. Our actuals were higher than forecasting due to our advertising costs. So is this advertising cost also going to be a permanent expense? Are we really looking into that? We need to really account for that. That way we can make a decision as soon as possible. And for the 11% lost revenue, we are going to have to dig deeper and cut down our expenses more in order to make up for that 11% lost revenue.
Yeah, well, advertising costs were higher because Vegetarian Times Magazine's rates increased. We do still expect to see cost savings in the second half of the year from the higher use of emails and, more advertising on emails and promotions on emails and all that kind of thing. We'll be reducing the amount of printed advertising, both in the Vegan Times magazine and in Veg World magazine. And we expect a significant dollar reduction in the direct mail expense in the fall as we implement the customer's online preferences.
Right.
Would you help us work up these numbers so that we can tell whether these decreases that I'm proposing will actually more than offset the increases in the email marketing costs that I'm proposing?
Sure, Jane. I am always happy to help. Hopefully it will not be too much of a hassle to make these certain adjustments in these specific accounts.
Great. Would it be possible for you to do that as soon as possible? I'd like to see this revised or incorporate this even revised forecast in my month-end meeting with the CFO.
Sure, I will try to get that done as soon as possible in time for your next meeting with the CFO. And let's take a look at, how about the cell phone expenses, which has an increase I see over here according to my numbers of $1,000. I did not see that expense in our budget. Are we switching vendors in any kind of way, or what's going on here?
We've not been approving any additional spending. I'm not familiar with that one. Would you look into it for me?
Sure, I can look into that more in detail, and I will get back to you with those details.
Great, thanks. Well, so from a management perspective, what else came in significantly over budget?
Well, I see the computer hosting was significantly over budget. If you take a look here in our expenses, the computer hosting expenses are only going to affect about 5% of the computer hosting budget, which runs from August through December.
Well, we haven't been successful, obviously, at controlling those costs yet, but we're still in negotiations, and we expect to have a new contract effective August 1st.
Okay.
What we're negotiating is we're hoping to have a 5% reduction in that. Will that have a significant enough impact on the overall budget?
Well, Jane, it will have an impact at only 5% reduction in the overall budget, which is pretty good, but we still need to dig more deeper into that expense.
Well, we are following through on the reduction in trade show costs for the rest of the year, reducing one staff member, reducing the travel and meals should help. I know it's not big, but we're also renting slightly smaller booths.
Okay. Well, I will make a note of that in my journal and I'll see what I can do.
Thanks for your help.
No problem, Jane. I'm always happy to help. I'll follow up on everything that we have discussed today, and I will send you a confirmation email recapping what we discussed today. We will plan on meeting again next month to discuss the July results.
Oh, I look forward to hearing from you about those numbers.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks.
Whoa, that was only 5 minutes.